Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you guys from the one, the only Studio K, presented by Circle K. Head to any Circle K Arizona location where you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents now through September 3rd. I am Anthony Totri, joined as always by that guy. This right there, that guy, Erik Ruby.
Where am I?
It's like my conscience in the upper left hand of the screen. Right there, guys, do us a solid. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Erik, we are officially less than 55 days till kickoff for your Arizona State Sun Devils. We got a big week ahead because it is Big 12 Media Day, Tuesday and Wednesday. We're, of course, going to be in Vegas, bringing you guys all of the latest updates to come out of Big 12 Media Day. We're going to have guests. There will be press conferences. So much content. But Erik, before we even get into Big 12 Media Day, we should probably talk about the biggest storylines heading into Big 12 Media Day.
Yeah, and I would also like to address that we are probably on the road right now.
Probably.
So if we are not reacting to your comments or anything like that, that is because we're on our way up to Vegas. So if I am not defending myself for not wearing a hat, that is why. So just want to put that out there. But yeah, I mean, it's almost kind of snuck up on us. Mm-hmm. Like when you do this every day, you just kind of expect it, like, oh yeah, the football season's coming up, and it's kind of the same way now. You're like, oh, it's it's 55 days or whatever. And then you get there, you're like, whoa. And now it's okay. It's Big 12 Media Day. We've been talking about it forever, and there really is. There's a lot going on in this conference.
There is. It's the first media day now where the Arizona State Sun Devils are a part of the Big 12, and that takes us right to the number 5 storyline heading into Big 12 Media Day, and that is the fact that you've got 4 new teams: Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah joining the conference. I think overall, just being able to see those 4 programs, those 4 logos, those 4 sets of coaches, the players, really with the Big 12 patch, right? Getting to Big 12 Media Day and seeing all of those personalities now in this conference, I'm interested to see the questions, honestly, that national media and other Big 12 media asks them, because we talk about it, like you said, every single day to kind of get the other perspective on these 4 teams joining the conference.
Yeah, I'm really interested just to hear how everybody kind of addresses each team, and I have kind of expectations. Obviously, I think everybody's going to treat Utah with a sense of respect.
As they should.
A respect that they've for sure earned. Colorado, I don't know how to expect Big 12 media reaction. U of A, I feel like, will be pretty medium. I think people are going to think they're good, but I don't think anybody's going to freak out over them. And I just don't think ASU is going to get the respect. I'm hoping that a couple of those I'm proven wrong. Like I'm hoping that you come in and you hear a lot of people talk highly of Kenny Dillingham and the program. But out of the 4 teams moving over, ASU currently is the one that I could see from a national Big 12 perspective being overlooked the most, hence what we saw from the media poll. Where they came in last. So hopefully maybe we could do some good work out there and put some people on and kind of tell everybody what's going on with at least this school specifically.
I think last year, the best part about the Pac-12 Media Day for me, right? And there were inklings that it was going to be the last, that the conference was probably set to drastically split. We knew that the LA schools were gone at that point. But going into that media day, it was obviously the first of the Kenny Dillingham era where he was at the helm of this program. And we had the chance throughout spring football to talk to Kenny and get an idea as to the type of coach he was. Again, we're talking heading into year 1. His personality, the way he constructs a roster, his philosophies when it comes to college football. But that was really the first time that national media had seen Kenny Dillingham or heard Kenny Dillingham speak. And there's something about it, right? And again, it's not just a bias because we cover Arizona State. If you get the opportunity to sit down and talk with Kenny Dillingham, there's something that's just different when you're talking about the broader sense of just college football coaches. Like, he's wired a little bit differently. We asked Graham Rossini about it, right? You see that. And again, this will be the first time that Big 12 media really get to see that Kenny isn't a normal 33-year-old coach.
Well, I think that especially rings true just to hearing how the players talk about him as well. And ASU right now is kind of in a spot that if you're just not up close and personal, you're just not aware of what's going on. And that's okay with where the program is. I think eventually in a couple years, if that disrespect is still there despite success, then you can start having some more like, what the hell is going on conversations. But it is different when you speak to him and when you talk to him. Like, I remember when he first got hired and brought him into the radio station I was working at, and I was producing that interview, and there was just something about him. Right. And you almost want to approach it with a sense of skepticism because of who he's replacing and because of how great that person was of an orator, right? As a talker, as somebody who gets you involved. So going into this guy, you're like, oh, I'm not ready to, like, you know, be hurt again. But then you hear him speak for like 5 minutes and you're like, this is a different kind of energy. It's a different kind of energy from Herm. It's a different kind of energy from Deion. And I think the media will pick up that contrast for sure.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm also excited to see. Again, I'm trying to figure out the point. There we go.
Yeah, I know. I'm like looking at you, but then I'm not looking at the camera.
Cam Scadaboo, he is set to be at Big 12 Media Day as well. Lee Fautanu, Xavier Alford, Clayton Smith. That is the assortment of Sun Devils that we're going to see out there, getting the opportunity, again, not just for us, but for Big 12 media to get the opportunity to talk to these guys, because they take after their coach in the sense of that personality where it's they love the game, and each of them have different storylines, right? You talk about Clayton Smith, former 5-star kid transferring from Oklahoma to Arizona State, had a solid season last year, looking to take that next step this year. You got Scat transferring from Sac State last year, was just a Swiss Army knife for Arizona State because he had to be, not necessarily because that's what they wanted him to be. And this year he's heading into what expects to be obviously his last year of college football, and he doesn't want to finish.
He's going to have a lot more of a refined, focused attack.
Yeah.
And one of the beautiful things about Cam last year was that he brought kind of a sense of chaos and an ability to thrive under really bad conditions. And now you've seen, not just from how he's treating his body, dropping some weight, focusing on his speed, but just kind of like how they talk about using him as well. He's still going to be their guy, but it's going to be a different Cam Scadaboo than last year, which is exciting. Like, that is very exciting.
And you look back to last season, right? The Sun Devils that were brought for Pac-12 Media Day were Jalen Conyers and Jordan Clark, both of which have moved on from this program. Jalen Conyers at Texas Tech, as we know, and Jordan Clark at Notre Dame. It says a lot about the type of player that you are if your coach says, hey, we want you at this media day. And not just Scat and Clayton. We've had Lee Fautanu on the show just a few weeks ago. We know what he brings to the table. And then Xavier Alford, right? The just, in my opinion, the best defensive player on this team.
But maybe the most under the radar as well, which is part of the
national perspective for sure. I don't think local media, but I think nationally,
because of him not really playing. And so, you know, now you put him out there, put his personality out there, at least people have to like look him up, right? And kind of figure out what's going on. Yeah. Oh, I mean, we got to ask him about
that's
the origin. Like, that's got to be question number one.
He's somebody that we've talked to, obviously, out at practice, but we've never had him on the show. Clayton Smith was on the High Point with Jalen Conyers at some point last season. We talked to Scat the moment that he transferred from Sac State to ASU. And then we've obviously had Leaf on the show. So it'll be exciting to get all those guys back in the mix.
Yeah.
And just get their perspective on Big 12 Media Day, right? And see how they, this is the first time we're getting to talk to them since they've seen the media poll that has them finishing dead last. And literally that came out right after we had Leaf on the show. And Leaf was like, we're keeping receipts. I'm 100% keeping receipts.
100%.
So it's certainly going to be exciting, but that's not the only storyline, obviously, heading into Big 12 Media Day. We have that at number 5. Says a lot about everything heading into.
It's kind of like an overarching, like, this is kind of what's going on. There are some juicier, more focused in storylines.
And I think a lot of them, in all honesty, the ones that we're going to discuss, most of them have to do specifically with the teams that are new to this conference.
So I want to ask, do you think, and I mean, we got to be honest here, do you think that's just kind of like a bias from our perspective, the fact that we know the most about these schools we're in tap, or are these really at least 3 or 4 of the most interesting schools in the Big 12 off rip?
I really think they are, because you talk about, again, the top 4 teams that are expected in this conference. 2 of them are new, Arizona and Utah.
Yeah,
right?
That's fair.
They're expected to be 2 of the best teams in this conference. You talk about a national team. Not because they're good, but because of who they're polarizing.
Yes,
that's Colorado.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll get into all of that. And then Arizona State, I think, is the outlier of those 4.
For now.
But hey, honestly, I don't know about you. I'd much rather be that team. I want to be the team that people are just kind of kicking to the curb. I hate, and maybe this is just me as a Chargers fan, right? I hate being favored in things. I would much rather go under the radar and have people just be like, oh, we're not worried.
Well, ASU athletics in general has seemed to thrive in an underdog role.
Yeah.
At least in the past, like 15.
They don't do well when they're big favorites.
Right. Or when the season starts going exceptionally well, and then you start having those expectations, whether it's basketball, whether it's football, whether it's baseball, you know, even softball in a sense. Obviously, there was a lot of changes there, but like, well, you're like, oh, softball national powerhouse. And then obviously that doesn't go great. But I think you're right where, you know, ASU and Colorado are in a lot more similar of a position than I think a lot of people realize. Even just close to record-wise, right? But also as far as rebuilding a program, new charismatic head coach, lots of moving pieces. Now, obviously, I think things in Colorado are a little bit heightened, but I also think that's
is one way to put
less conducive to long-term success. Yeah. And so for ASU, they could have the same season as Colorado this year, and for one team, it would be considered a massive failure, and for another, it'd be considered a success.
Yeah, depending on what that bar was.
Well, I'm thinking like 5 wins.
Yeah.
Right? Like ASU gets 5 to 6 wins. That's a good season. Colorado
6 wins, you're dancing.
Colorado gets 5 to 6 wins.
It's failure.
Right, but I don't think that that's an indictment on ASU. I think it's an indictment on how people view and treat Colorado.
It has nothing to do with the roster itself, I think, in Colorado, because I think there's a clear understanding of the majority of individuals that understand football that team is not necessarily ready for a Big 12 championship game.
But wait till after the spring game. Line's going to jump up
that guy still has not slid in my DMs yet,
beats by Bandes. Where are you,
Says my DMs are locked. They're not. You can slide in them at any time. So we'll see. We'll see. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about the number 4 storyline heading into Big 12 Media Day. Again, kind of focusing in on one team that is new to this conference, and that is the Arizona Wildcats. Does Brent Brennan have the it factor? And again, you're not going to be able to, he's not out in Vegas coaching at Allegiant Stadium, so that's one thing that you're not going to get to see. But I think, again, just being able to have the ability to speak in a way that shows the type of coach that you're going to be, right? We talked about it with Kenny Dillingham. We've seen it in the past with Kyle Whittingham. We've seen it with Deion. We've seen it all over the nation. We saw it more specifically with Jed Fish, who was formerly at Arizona.
You see it everywhere. Yeah. You see it in any sport. The way that a coach conducts themselves off the field in media is usually a representation
of how they are as a coach.
Right. And it's not always one-to-one. Like Bill Belichick, right? You know, Bill Belichick talks to the media. It's very... But, you know, he's going to get a little bit more passionate, a little bit more fired up on the sidelines, but that's kind of like an earned respect. Yeah. Deion off the field is a show. Yeah. Deion on the field is a show, right? And Brent Brennan kind of feels like the person, and this has nothing to do with him being at U of A. This is just in general who doesn't have the showmanship. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, but you do need to have some like
Brent Brennan's the type of guy that I anticipate selling me a used car. But a nice it's not somebody that I'm like, and again,
you're not mad at him about it.
No, I'm not mad at him for it. Like, I'm going to buy a used car. Right. But like he doesn't blow me away. I'm not wowed at it. And again, I'm going to be totally honest, right? I haven't spent a ton of time going and looking for Brent Brennan press conferences.
I don't know. According to U of A fans, though, man, we care about is U of A. So that's actually
don't care that much.
I put it on my TV. I just put Brent Brennan press conference on my TV over and over again.
Way more than I fucking do, man. Yeah, it's absolutely wild. But again, I think watching him conduct himself in the press conferences, seeing the way that he interacts with his players out there, Noah Fafita, T-Mac are going to be out there, and you know, hopefully he sits down with Mike Luke at the PHNX Wildcat show, and we get the opportunity to really see those two dive in on Arizona football. But again, I think the tough thing for Brent here when it comes to Big 12 Media Day is kind of what we opened with, right? Arizona is expected to be a top 4 team in this conference. And in reality, nobody's saying the Arizona Wildcats are going to be a top 4 team in this conference because Brent Brennan is their coach. People are saying that the Arizona Wildcats, the only thing that's going to stop them from being a top 4 team in this conference is that Brent Brennan is their coach.
It's an extraordinary amount of pressure.
Yeah.
For somebody who's coming from a place where, it wasn't exactly set up to succeed, and good on him for succeeding, but that also comes with, I would say, less pressure.
Is 7-5 a success if you do it every single year?
Well, yes.
It's a used car.
There, yes, it is. Right? Where he was before, absolutely. And he can still be a great football coach, but there is, like you said, like a different amount of pressure. Also, you're replacing a very good head coach. Obviously, you can have your questions about Jed's morals when it comes to the sport and whatever. But he won. And he flipped your program around inexplicably fast.
Yeah. 2-3 years ago, that was the worst team in college football.
Yeah.
They just won 10 games and beat Oklahoma in a bowl game.
Yeah. And now they are relying on somebody who's never coached at this level before to retain all this talent, to coach all this talent, to take what some considered a bona fide top 15 pick.
Yeah.
And Totri McMillan, and also a quarterback of the future, and Noah Fifita, also a potential NFL player. And those are just your 2 main pieces on offense. From everything I've seen, I have to produce the Wildcats show more often than I would like, but I've seen a lot of national love for the Arizona Wildcats, and good for them. Let's just see how it plays out.
You need to, and again, we talk about, I have talked about the pressure that Brent Brennan is under this season because you return T-Mac, because you return Takaria Davis on the defensive side of the ball. You return T-Mac, Noah Fifita, whatever. Look at this now as a worst case scenario, right? Just again, let's assume that this team goes 7-5. That's a failure. That's a failure with this roster. T-Mac's gone after the season.
Mm-hmm.
T-Mac's headed to the NFL draft. Noah Fifita is a sophomore in the season. He's losing his top target. If Brent Brennan doesn't show as a coach that you can win 8+ games, right? If you go 7-5 and now you lose the number 2 wide receiver in the nation, arguably the best wide receiver in the country, there's not a guarantee that Noah Fifita doesn't hit the portal after
that's
this.
fair. Yeah,
so there's a lot on the line for Brent Brennan, really from the jump.
Yeah, it's not an easy situation, right? It's like with ASU, it's not an easy situation for Kenny. You're coming in and you're taking over just something that needs a lot of work.
Yeah,
but as far as pressure goes, and we talked about this with the pressure rankings, Kenny is nowhere near on that level simply because of where this program is at.
Yeah.
And I'm sure U of A fans love that the expectations are high right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you play college football for.
Right, but these high expectations is the same thing with Colorado and Colorado fans. If shit hits the fan, and I think with both of those schools, it's a lot more likely than their fans are leading on.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Like, I'm not going to walk out here and say Arizona football is going to suck this year. I like, that's just like, I'm not stupid. I hate them, but I'm not stupid. However, there's a lot of fans who just feel like they're bulletproof. And I don't get it. Because when ASU is going to be in the position that U of A is in a couple of years, hell, maybe faster than that, I'm not the next year right afterwards going to jump to, oh, we're fine for good.
It doesn't work like that in college.
No, especially when you lose a coach.
You know the only schools that works for?
Alabama, Georgia,
and Ohio State.
A little bit Oregon.
Yeah,
a little bit Oregon.
You could say Oregon.
A little bit.
I guess. They weren't very good with Cristobal, were they?
No, they weren't outright bad, though.
I mean, but you look, I would say, over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
The schools that just
Ohio
consistently.
State, Georgia, Alabama. Yeah.
That's really it. Even LSU fell off for a little bit.
LSU did have a little fall from grace and came back. Auburn has had their fall from grace.
Michigan wasn't good before Harbaugh got there.
Michigan's had their fall from grace.
That's really it.
It's hard. It's hard to keep this like consistent and going, and especially like there are very lofty expectations from Arizona fans. I mean, we're talking college football playoff, and yes, an expanded college football playoff.
Still, you're one of the best 12 teams in college football.
And last year they would have made it. If it was 12 teams, they would have made it. But that was last year. This is this year. It's not always a linear improvement, especially when you replace a coach. So obviously we're not going to be able to glean everything we can the same way that from Kenny, you can't get everything from just an interview, but you can get a feeling for things. And I think that just having somebody that is reliable and that you can trust and that has been there for a long time, it means something. And U of A just doesn't have that right now. But the state of Arizona has that with Desert Financial Credit Union. That's right, baby. I absolutely love telling you guys about Desert Financial Credit Union because every time
he does,
I do a little bit more research into it. Not that I have to do a lot of research, but internally with my family, I just figure out there's actually a really long history with DFCU. So a little history lesson here. Desert Financial Credit Union used to be Desert Schools, and Desert Schools used to be only for educators. So when my grandparents moved with my 2-year-old father here a long time ago, my grandmother was an educator. She opened up an account with Desert Financial or Desert Schools at the time, now Desert Financial Credit Union. And I'm not going to give you the bank account number, but let's just say it started with a 1. Okay, it started with a 1. So my family has been with Desert Financial Credit Union in all their iterations for almost the entirety of the 85 years that they have been open.
That's crazy.
Right? And they're the only place that I've held my money, and they are a fantastic place to not only just have your checkings and savings accounts, but also your mortgages, your loans, your credit cards, your investment options, and more. Fantastic people, locations everywhere, good availability, good service. I've never had a problem going in there no matter what, whether I've lost a debit card, whether I'm opening a new account, whether I need insurance, whatever it has been in my life, they've always been there. And on top of all of that, how often do you get your credit union or your bank putting money into your account for you? Not often. And Desert Financial Credit Union wants to do that. If you open up a free checking account online right now, you will get $200 for free. And you can spend that with one of 3 different ASU designed Visa debit cards. And if for some reason you just don't want an ASU debit card, you want a normal one, they've got some Desert Landscapes. They've got some Cardinals ones as well. They have a lot of different options. Plus, you get that $200 for free. All you got to do is go desertfinancial.com/ASU to get started.
I love it. Absolutely. You know what else I love?
Tell me.
I love hitting the links. I've gotten into golf big the last, I'd say, month or so, and it's hot as shit outside. It is hot as hell, but there is one way to stay cool, whether you are golfing, whether you are out by the pool, maybe you're at your local bar, and that is with 4 Peaks. Hopefully, you're spending some time at the 4 Peaks Brewery out in Tempe. They've got some phenomenal drinks, some amazing food, and of course, some phenomenal vibes over at 4 Peaks. Erik, do you have a favorite 4 Peaks brew?
Absolutely, I do. It's the Wild Wheat, and it's not even a question.
I mean, it's one of the smoothest beers out there.
I used to listen. Everybody, whatever beer you enjoy, and it's different for everybody, and I get that. But I'm just saying, when I first started drinking alcohol, I convinced myself that I love dark beers.
Why would you do such a thing?
Because I just thought it was the adult thing.
You thought it was really cool.
I just thought I was this is what should be happening.
Yeah.
Right. And then I realized that
you didn't like dark beers.
A fruity beer is okay.
Yeah.
Dark beers have their place.
The peach ale is
fantastic, but the Wild Wheat, it's the first thing I ask for no matter where I go. Yeah. Any restaurant. Oh, do you want a beer? Do you guys have Wild Wheat? It's the first one that I ask for. I love some Wild Wheat, man.
4 Peaks has a million options, guys. Not literally, but it feels like it because they've got something for everybody out there, and they all taste damn good. Visit 4peaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. Check out at 4 Peaks Brew, at 4 Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You got to be 21 or older to drink 4 Peaks, and please drink responsibly. Erik, let's go ahead and get to the third storyline, number 3 on our list of top 5. Heading into Big 12 Media Day, and that is the young quarterbacks. Do the young quarterbacks kind of solidify themselves, maybe show that they can take the next step? Ironically enough, there is a lot of young talent in this conference, but specifically we're looking at 3 quarterbacks. Noah Fafita, obviously of the Arizona Wildcats. We've talked a lot about Arizona thus far. He is headed into year 2. This will be, the first time that he starts the entirety of the season. Knock on wood, you don't want to see anybody get injured. Avery Johnson at Kansas State, I believe he is heading into his sophomore campaign as well. And then Rocco Becht from Iowa State, another young quarterback that a lot of people are really, really high on him. I'm excited to see him take the next step. But really, all 3 of those quarterbacks are expected to be at Big 12 Media Day. I think it says a lot about the program when you opt to bring your quarterback to Media Day. Yeah. Again, Arizona, Kansas State, Iowa State, all 3 bringing their quarterback. Arizona State not bringing a quarterback as of late, but you look at Sam Levitt, another young quarterback that I think a lot of people, at least locally, are hoping take that next step. Mm-hmm. But those 3 quarterbacks, what are you looking to see from them? Again, not necessarily specifically, but maybe overall as a group that would make you feel like this is these are the guys for these programs.
There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure for all three.
Yeah.
I think Rocco the least. I think just Iowa State as a program in general is not under a ton of pressure. Kansas State, Avery Johnson was replacing an established quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? And it was a choice to go with Avery Johnson.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of pressure on Avery Johnson's shoulders. And then Noah Fafita. Noah Fafita right now in Tucson is the savior. Right? It's the same thing we talked about with Brent Brennan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on a young quarterback. And so from media day, obviously you can only glean so much. It's how they carry themselves, how they talk and everything like that. But when the season starts, I'm looking to see who looks like they improved the clearest, you know, like not like, oh, that guy's still good, but oh, that guy has gone from good to great.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that all three of them have the chance to do that, but all three of them are under an enormous amount of pressure. And if they don't do that off the bat, I can see the narrative shifting on all three of these players extremely fast.
And all three of them have very different coaches.
Yes.
All three of them have very different rosters.
But all three are on good teams
Yeah.
that expect to win, and they expect to win this season. There's no room for a developing quarterback right now. Maybe a little bit with Rocco and Iowa State, but I feel like that was last year for them, and they exceeded expectations, and I think he did as well. But especially with Kansas State and Noah Fafita, you're on two teams that a lot of people are picking to win the Big 12 and make the college football playoffs. And can you step up with Fafita with a full offseason, like, and just hit the ground running?
Yeah.
Especially with Fafita and having a new coach. How much of that success was the coaching before? You just don't know. And I'm not saying it was, but you just don't know.
No, that's fair. And look, again, we talk about those two teams specifically. Rocco's kind of the outlier there at Iowa State. I don't think there's a lot of people that think Iowa State should be a top 4 team in this conference.
I think they should be good, though. That's the thing. That's like the perfect spot.
I mean,
again, they should be good, but
if you have your quarterback, anything's possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. So, but with Avery Johnson and Noah Fafita, you are, again, out of the 4 teams, those are the 2 young quarterbacks. Because the other 2 teams that we talk about as being a top 4 team would be Kansas with Jalen Daniels, who is a veteran. Mind you, he's dealt with a lot of injury, but he's an older quarterback. He's been around college football. And then at Utah, Cam Rising. There's not a more experienced. There's not a more
that's a nicer way to put
quarterback in college football right now than Cam Rising.
That's a very nice way to put it. Yes.
So, like, you not only have to prove yourself as a young up-and-coming quarterback, and I think what we're looking for is for those guys to take the step from young up-and-coming quarterback to we're here. We belong in the conversation as top 3 quarterback in this conference. Cam Rising doesn't have what we have. Jalen Daniels doesn't have what we have. Shedeur Sanders doesn't have what we have. And that's what these young guys, I think, have to go out and do. Kind of like we said with Brent Brennan, you're not expecting, you're not going to see him coach out there, and you're not going to see these guys necessarily go win football games at Allegiant Stadium over this 2-day media day. But
I sure hope
what
not.
you say, how you say it, how you compose yourself, I think that is really going to be a tell as to just how good these quarterbacks can be. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think that is something that beginning of the season, Big 12 wise, there's going to be a lot of there's a lot of quarterback talk anyway. But just in general, because there's another name, there's for the next 2 points, those also involve quarterbacks. And I just think in general at that position, kind of hard at ASU right now to feel like you're in that same space. But that position overall in the conference is one that a lot of people are focusing on, because you also mentioned like Jalen Daniels as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for those 3 just to see the step they take. I'm most excited about Rocco. You got a name. You got a name like Rocco. I've established this since like the first episode I was on, pretty sure, where it's just the name means a lot to me.
Yeah, to you specifically.
To me specifically, the name means a lot.
I love that for you.
Avery Johnson. Noah Fafita is a good name.
Noah Fafita
is a good name.
Hey, I like Avery. I like Avery as a name.
Avery Johnson.
That's a creative player.
It's a good name. It's an old school point guard. Dish and dime. Also a coach.
There you go. Moving on to the number 2 storyline heading into Big 12 Media Day. And that, again, has to do with a team that is new to this conference. Utah. Is the Utah dynasty almost over? A couple weeks ago, we saw the report that the successor to Kyle Whittingham, I believe it's the defensive coordinator currently, will be the next coach when it is time.
They're like already basically coordinating.
Yeah, as soon as Whittingham decides to hang it up. But his first Big 12 Media Day, Cam Rising's last Big 12 Media Day, assuming, right, he doesn't have any more eligibility. Like, you talk about a dynasty, and this is a program that obviously hasn't won a national championship.
It's a different definition of dynasty.
I mean, Kyle Whittingham's been at Utah for what, 20 plus years at this point? Cam Rising, what feels like 20 plus years.
20 plus years, going on 25.
Yeah.
It's a different type of dynasty. You're not talking about your Georgias. You're not talking like the schools that we had mentioned earlier that have had consistent success at that level. But you're talking about a team that year in and year out in a very good conference in the Pac-12 was the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
If not the top, near the top and competing for it. Even down years, still a good team.
Yeah.
And that is impressive. It's a model that Kenny Dillingham has come out and said he wants to reestablish it over here. And also, when we did the Big 12 media pressure ratings for coaches, Whittingham was higher than I thought, but because they said this might be a last dance of sorts. And that is a very difficult last dance to manage.
Yeah.
Which is moving to a brand new conference.
I think, I genuinely think this, if Utah wins the conference this season, which there's a chance.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes the college football playoff, which if you win the Big 12, you're going to be in the college football playoff. And they make a decent run. I don't think they need to win a national championship. I could absolutely see Whittingham hanging it up. Absolutely seeing it, because you're losing your quarterback.
Yeah.
You're going to be losing a top 5 tight end in the country.
Are they going to lose Dorian Singer?
No comment. I always forget Dorian Singer.
I know, right? Is this his last year of eligibility, or does he have another one?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
To be honest with you, I'm not totally up to date with the Utah wide receiving core and all of the eligibility that they have. But still, this could be his first and last Big 12 media day. And getting the opportunity to talk to him and just see where he's at, right? See where his head's at. Because this is a tough job. And you talk about coaches that have kind of hung it up or opted to move for different positions because college football has changed so drastically with the transfer portal and NIL. Could this be it? Could this be it for Kyle Whittingham?
Very well could. It very well could. And that would be one hell of a career for Whittingham.
Yeah.
And you're right. I don't think he goes out if I don't know. If you don't have a great season, do you just get out, right? Or do you stick around and now there really is a lot of pressure on you?
Yeah.
I'm not rooting for Utah's demise. I'm rooting for their success, obviously. I have no ill will. Right. I would rather ASU beat them. I would rather ASU be a better team than them. I don't think that that's a conversation that we can have this year. And if we are, then either Kenny Dillingham
has gone remarkably well
or remarkably wrong for Utah.
For
right.
Utah.
So it's either Kenny Dillingham is the best coach on planet Earth, or it's Kyle Whittingham has completely lost his fastball.
Yeah.
Right. If that happens, which it just won't.
Yeah.
Right. There's just too much infrastructure at Utah. It's more likely that it's okay, Kenny's just that damn good.
Yeah.
But again, that's not
tell.
a very easy thing to do. But yeah, I hope that they continue. I'd like for Whittingham to go out on top, especially because I feel like him and Kenny have also gotten along well.
Yeah.
And so if ASU can turn into Utah eventually,
I mean, that's a win.
That's an absolute massive win. And it doesn't seem like it's unfathomable.
Yeah.
And so hopefully Utah can kind of go out on top, and then ASU, they can emulate that.
Little brother eventually rise to the ranks here. Look, before we get to the main storyline heading into Big 12 Media Day, I want to tell you a little bit about our friends over at Circle K. Obviously, this show is in the one, the only Studio K. If you could see behind me in between Erik here, there's a bunch of little snacks on that snack cart. Erik mentioned at the top of the show that this isn't live. We are likely on the road to Vegas, but I'll tell you
we might be at a Circle K right now.
You know for a fact. Saul has told us we will be stopping at a Circle K, and I'm excited. I need an energy drink. My coffee didn't hit this morning. We're going to get some energy drinks for the entire week. We're going to get some snacks, and we are going to road trip. But it's only possible because of Circle K.
Absolutely.
Look, not just great snacks, but a great deal. It's going to help you save money every single day. With Inner Circle, it's their new free membership program. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. And then every single day after that, you can fill up if you want to and save 3 cents per gallon. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Might have to grab me a Poly Pop. Might have to do that.
A roly-poly pop?
I might have to do that. I mean, listen, there are just certain road trip essentials. And you might have your Polar Pop from Circle K, some snacks from Circle K. Maybe if you don't like the people you're driving with, you need to have your headphones. But
I've got mine locked and loaded.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not ripping. We're not ripping for the 5-hour drive.
I mean, we can't rip the whole time.
Oh, we could.
No, we can't.
We could.
Dude, we're gonna be talking so much over the course of the next few days.
Let's record a 5-hour podcast, Totri. Just on the way there. Just me and you just ripping back and forth. Play the license plate game. Okay, listen. Maybe that's not a road trip essential, but I would say the number one road trip essential, especially if you're driving, it's absolutely Shady.
Yeah, it's Shady
Rays. You need to have your premium polarized sunglasses when you're hitting the road, whether you're in the passenger seat looking out the window or you're driving and responsible for all the lives inside your car. You do not want to have the sun in your eyes and now you can't see and now you're, oh, my eyes are hurting. I got to drive with my eyes hurting. You just don't want that, right? Especially with today's sun, especially with today's heat, you need to stay cool. You need to look cool, and you could do that with Shady Rays. They most likely have your favorite team's colors, ASU colors, Suns colors, Cardinals colors, Diamondbacks colors. Maybe you just want to go straight black. That's how I like my sunglasses. I don't like them to be too fancy. I just want regular, nice, quality, premium, polarized sunglasses. And over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays the best. That's right, 5-star reviews online. But on top of all of this, whether it's the fit, whether it's their fantastic return or exchange a new pair policy, it's their worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. All of that's fantastic, but at the end of the day, the best part of it, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code PHNX, the 4 best letters in the alphabet, for 35% off. That is a massive discount. 35% off. Polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by how many people? Totri?
Over 300,000.
Over 300,000 people.
That's a lot.
That's so many people.
So many people. Okay, you want to talk about the number one storyline?
Oh, I know you do.
I mean, I really don't. I
don't lie to me. Don't lie to me, Totri.
It's all anybody's going to be talking about there.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's because
you only do it when it's, not cool, right? In the off days. You don't want to do it when everybody else is doing it.
Shador.
Oh, jeez.
Shiloh. And Deion. Showtime. They're going to be in Las Vegas. Assuming they didn't go to Vegas, or Shador and Travis Hunter were there last year.
Yeah.
We talked to them a little bit. Deion wasn't there for his very first and last Pac-12 Media Day. He was not there.
He had some medical stuff going on. It wasn't like he didn't just decide not to go.
No,
we got to give him a pass on that for sure.
But now these guys are headed to Media Day. We've seen the off-season shenanigans. We've seen the rants. We've seen the feuds. We've seen the hype. And now they're there in front of everybody. Yeah. National media, local media for all of these schools. It's going to be a show. And those individuals, that family, that coaching staff, that quarterback, they are the storyline in Las Vegas this week.
Yeah, let's not get it twisted. This is where Colorado wins. Yeah. This is like Colorado's college football playoffs.
You're right.
Okay,
this is as close as they're going to get.
This is their Super Bowl. This is their moment, okay? When it comes to talking, there's not many programs that can do it better. So you best believe.
I feel like they don't even do it well, to be honest with you.
I think that might be a little bit biased. I think they do it well because you see how galvanized the people of Boulder and Colorado fans are.
Yeah.
And how galvanized and how entrenched the entire national perspective is with Deion, AP Sports Person of the Year, top 10 team in EA College Football 25, fans saying they're going to win in the college football playoff. There's a lot going on for a team that won, what was it, one more game than ASU last year?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they almost lost to ASU
Their last
as well.
Of the season came in October.
Yeah.
ASU, yeah.
Again, and their really good wins at the beginning of the season ended up being over teams that were not that great.
At all.
This is where they win. This will always be where they win. And I'm not saying they're going to absolutely suck this year, but their peak will be when they can talk about it rather than when they walk.
We're going to have so many amazing clips to come out of Las Vegas, Colorado. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I'm sure Deion's going to say something like, well, we're in Vegas and so we're gambling and you better bet on me. Some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, while you're here, make sure you put a large sum of cash on us.
Deion's like, I walked by an unnamed sports book on the way here and I saw our odds to win the Big 12 and I think you guys are there's going to be some stupid stuff where Colorado fans are going to be salivating like they have rabies and the rest of the world is going to be like,
they're droids, man.
It'll be like, ugh.
They're droids.
Right?
They're droids. They're White Walkers. They're.
You know what we should ask Shador? Hey, which NFL quarterback would you compare
well,
yourself to?
I already know.
I
was thinking that, but his answer is he's gonna say nobody. He's gonna say himself.
He's gonna say I'm one of one.
He's just gonna say he's gonna say I don't model my game after anybody. That's the easiest.
If he said Joe Burrow, I would die.
I
would die if he said Joe Burrow, dude.
I would ask him specifically.
Be like, would you model your game around Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
Icy Joe.
Oh, God, I can't. Did we miss any? Did we miss any storylines
from Colorado?
Just overall, Big 12 Media Day.
Kansas.
You think they're gonna be?
It's gonna be really interesting to see just Kansas treated as, hey, you might win the Big 12
in something not basketball related,
in something football related.
Yeah,
right. I don't. Is Jalen Daniels gonna be there?
Let's check and see. I think
because that's gonna be a massive storyline.
Yep, Jalen Daniels will be there.
So Jalen Daniels, that's gonna be a massive storyline. Baylor's coach, his last name starts with an A.
Aranda.
Yeah, he's under an immense amount of pressure over there.
Yeah,
that program is not doing well.
Neil Brown at West Virginia.
Was
last year a fluke?
Was last year a fluke? Can you keep it up? Are the good vibes still rolling? Does that even matter? That's a big storyline. UCF, Texas Tech, kind of just in the middle there. I wouldn't say there's massive storylines. With Texas Tech, it's like, what kind of production are you going to get out of your tight end room?
Oklahoma State?
No, Oklahoma State. Their quarterback controversy is apparently over.
Alan Bowman's the guy.
Ollie
Gordon. Expected to be there.
That'll be interesting.
Also,
that'll
just check
for sure.
Rocco Becht is not going to be at Media Day.
Oh, wow.
With Iowa State. Noah Fafita will be, and the same goes for Avery Johnson.
See, that's a shame because Vegas was made for a guy named Rocco.
Was it?
Yeah, he's not 21.
Their quarterback.
He's not 21 yet, but
let's see what team.
Isn't Tech's quarterback super young?
I think so. I don't know.
I think Tech's quarterback is super young.
So TCU is bringing their quarterback. Kansas State is bringing their quarterback.
Okay.
I already said Texas Tech.
Yeah. You said
Texas Tech, Utah, Oklahoma State, Arizona,
Colorado,
Houston, UCF. That's going to be another interesting one with KJ Jefferson, the transfer.
Yeah. The dude who I think he transferred to Baylor from Tulane, DeQuan Finn.
Yeah.
Right? That'll be an interesting...
From Toledo. He's not going.
But that'll, in general, that's an interesting storyline to follow.
Very, very interesting. West Virginia is bringing their quarterback. Kansas bringing their quarterback. So the majority of the programs are bringing their quarterback.
Okay.
But we'll see. Interesting that Rocco is not going.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting.
They're bringing 2 wideouts, a DB, and a D lineman.
Yeah, I'm trying to think out of all the other schools, there's not really a storyline with Houston. There's not really a storyline with Cincinnati.
No, they're bringing their punter.
They are.
So was Colorado.
I'm about to say it's very Cincinnati. Baylor, obviously, their head coach is under massive hot seat consideration. Yeah. I don't think there's any big storylines that we missed. Oklahoma State will probably be better than people are expecting. Arizona will probably be a little bit worse. Colorado's going to be a massive disappointment. ASU will be better than people expect. I think people walk away from Big 12 Media Day with a different type of respect for ASU.
I can't wait to see who's crowned champion after Big 12 Media Day.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen.
It'll be, prediction.
It's going to be Utah.
No, it's going to be Kansas.
You think?
I think Kansas.
They get the job done?
I think that we're in overthinking season, and I think Utah is going to be overthought a lot.
Maybe.
And I think people are going to crown Kansas.
Guess we'll see, guys. Head to the comments. Let us know what you think of these storylines heading into Big 12 Media Day. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Also, give the show a follow at PHNX Sun Devils because we are going to be live from Las Vegas talking to everybody at Big 12 Media Day. We are going to be the place for all of the latest going down in Las Vegas this week at Allegiant Stadium. Again, hit the subscribe button specifically if you haven't already. Give the show a follow at PHNX Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow my conscience up here at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. You can follow the man with a stash, but not on the show, at Shane Deef. Just missing the show as always. And we will be live in Vegas the next time you see us. But in the meantime, guys, go Devils. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.